Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV Bond for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan.
And I'm Thiruni Karunarotna. Here are tonight's top stories. Funds will be allocated in next budget to rebuild collapsed state mechanism. President announces while launching Praja Shakti program. Former Minister S.M. Chandrasena remanded. 3 suspects including Deputy Commissioner of Department of Motor Traffic remanded over bribery charges. Granted bail. Mervyn Silva also granted bail. IMF prepares to assess impact of US tariffs on individual countries. Associate of Gane Mulle Sanjeeva shot dead in Batuatta, Ragama. Body of young entrepreneur found in Lunubila, Chilao.
On to those stories in detail. The Praja Shakti National Program aimed at eradicating rural poverty was inaugurated today under the patronage of President Anurukumara Dissanayake. Addressing the event, the President emphasized that the Praja Shakti Program is a unified effort involving the political system, state officials and the public with the objective of uplifting underprivileged communities across the country.
The inauguration ceremony of the Praja Shakti National Program was held this evening at Temple Trees in Colombo. The event was attended by Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, state officials, diplomats and others.
What is this Praja Shakti program?
Currently, 1 in every 6 individuals in Sri Lanka is affected by multidimensional poverty, with 95.3% of them residing in rural or estate sectors. The continued existence of this situation poses a significant challenge to the country's economic and productive processes.
Past evaluations have identified several shortcomings, such as the lack of unified, integrated approach to rural development and the failure to effectively utilize development strategies in a goal-oriented manner, especially when development efforts were not locally anchored. The Praja Shakti National Program introduced today is envisioned as a people-centered initiative operating under a strong and integrated approach aimed at eliminating multidimensional poverty and creating a developed village. How will this program be implemented?
The objective of the Praja Shakti National Program is to empower communities and systematically integrate vulnerable communities into a structured social protection mechanism. How do we integrate groups living in isolation in remote villages into our development process? We hope to develop a digital platform that will allow us to monitor all 14,008 Grama Niladhari divisions from a central point. Data will be gathered from every village and a tailored plan will be created for each one. We will then observe how each of these plans is implemented. If there are gaps or weaknesses in the implementation, we will provide solutions. This initiative is primarily about establishing digital connectivity. We believe this effort should not be carried out solely by the state sector. The private sector and the general public must also be brought in as partners in this process.
What is the mechanism of the Praja Shakti program? Will this too end up becoming like the previously implemented social welfare programs?
The structure of the Praja Shakti program comprises 3 key levels. At the top is the Praja Shakti National Council. This council operates under the leadership of the President and includes 9 cabinet ministers. The next level is the Praja Shakti National Operations Committee. This committee is tasked with implementing the decisions made by the National Council. It is chaired by a minister and includes 9 ministry secretaries and the chief secretaries of the provincial councils. The secretary to the Development Administration and senior additional secretary to the President serves as the committee's secretary and convener. The third level is the Community Development Council, established at the Grama Niladhari divisions level. This council is designed to coordinate the Praja Shakti National Program from the grassroots up to the national level through local, district, ministerial and provincial council structures. Accordingly, Community Development Councils are expected to be set up across all 14,008 Grama Niladhari divisions in the country. The chairperson of each Community Development Council will be appointed by the chairman of the Regional Development Committee, while the secretary will be an officer nominated nominated by the Divisional Secretariat. The role of these councils includes contributing to development decisions that empower communities and identifying individuals in need of social protection. These councils will include representatives from all sectors of society, academics, entrepreneurs, business people, industrialists and public servants from the respective areas, ensuring broad-based community participation. Thus, a well-coordinated mechanism is being established from the President at the national level to the most rural grassroots level and vice versa to implement the program effectively.
How will past weaknesses be avoided?
The Minister of Rural Development, Social Security and Community Empowerment provided clarity on this matter.
We have incorporated two key approaches into this program. The first is empowerment. Alongside empowerment, the second core theme of this initiative is protection. Providing necessary protection to marginalized segments of society is a central component of this program. To support this effort, we expect the cooperation and partnership of non-governmental organizations, especially multi-stakeholder organizations affiliated with the United Nations.
The official website of the Praja Shakti National Program was also launched during the event. All related information can now be accessed via the website www.prajashakti.gov.lk.
On one hand, we must achieve economic growth. On the other, we must ensure the expansion of the economy. That economic expansion must reach rural communities. If rural populations are not made stakeholders in the economy, they remain a group that is simply sustained by the economy rather than contributing to it. In order to eliminate poverty, we must transform the limited economic activity they currently engage in into a more productive economic base. We must also create new economic opportunities for them. However, in any society, at any point in time, there will always be a vulnerable population facing hardship. That is precisely where the responsibility of a government lies, to care for these people and establish a proper welfare system. Yet, this responsibility has been significantly misused. Welfare has often been turned into a political tool. It has become a means of saying, we'll give you something from the government if you support our politics or join our party. That's why there's heavy criticism about the politicization of welfare. We make it clear. The policy of our government under the National People's Power is to provide welfare only to the identified, deserving communities. We aim to build a strong data system that can accurately identify who truly deserves assistance. It is also important to recognize that no one should rely on welfare programs forever. Welfare must always be available, but not to the same individuals or communities permanently. That's the key difference. At any given time, assistance must go to those who genuinely need it. Others must be empowered to become contributors to the economy. I am aware that many international organizations design aid programs for us, but when we examine them closely, we find that more than 50% of their resources are spent on administrative mechanisms rather than actually reaching the people. Therefore, as a government and as public officials, we hold responsibility to ensure that assistance reaches the right people, and we assure you, we will not allow that responsibility to be misused. We urge you to deliver assistance only to those who truly need it. That is our mission. All aid that flows to rural communities, whether it's financial support or development initiatives, must be integrated. If the support is just for survival, that's one thing. But if it's meant to elevate their living conditions, that's another. Unfortunately, much of our aid has been limited to basic survival. It hasn't helped people rise above their current situation. That is why we need a coordinated operation. The Praja Shakti program has been launched with the aim of serving as that coordinated operation.
The President also spoke on the need to rebuild the collapsed state structure.
In the recent budget, we increased public sector salaries to provide the necessary support for the human resources the state requires. Next, we must build the physical infrastructure needed by the state. We need to remodel the state. But for whom? for the citizen. There is no point in modernizing the state if the same old person sits in the same old chair. That's why we need a new generation of public servants to operate within a modernized state mechanism. Only then can we overcome this challenge. To achieve this, we need a coordinated effort where political leadership and the public service work hand in hand. The methods used to maintain an existing functioning state are not sufficient to rebuild a collapsed one. In a collapsed state, we have a society that has lost economic opportunity and is burdened with hardship. For that reason, we need a unified operation, a mechanism where political leadership, the state apparatus and the general public come together to create new economic opportunities for the people. That mechanism is what Praja Shakti represents. Let us all come together and work as one to make this initiative a success.
ආර්ථික අවස්ථා නිර්මාණය කිරීම සඳහා ඒකාබද්ධ මෙහෙයුමක් අවශ්‍යයි. දේශපාලන අධිකාරිය, රාජ්‍ය යාන්ත්‍රණය, පුදු පුරවැසියා අන්නේ යාන්ත්‍රණය තමයි ප්‍රජාශක්ති ව්‍යාපෘති. අන්නේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය සාර්ථක කර ගැනීම සඳහා අපි හැමදෙනාම එක්ව වැඩ කරමු.
Julie Kozak, Director of the International Monetary Fund's Communications Department, reaffirmed the IMF's commitment to tailoring its economic program reviews to the unique circumstances of each member country, especially in light of shifting global economic conditions. Speaking at a recent press briefing, Kozak explained that IMF program reviews are designed to assess both past performance and future economic outlooks.
Now, one of South Asia's biggest trading partners is the US. Now, President Trump has already signaled deals with countries like Vietnam and India. But however, for small economies like Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bangladesh, there is still uncertainty around it. So given the uncertainty around it, will the fund be looking at changing certain targets with these countries that are already in programs, or will there be any revisit to the financing already given to these countries? Thank you.
What I can say on this one is that in all program countries, in all program contexts, the reason why we have reviews during the program is there's a backward-looking part to the review, which is to assess, whether the country has complied with the targets and the commitments that they have made. But the other part is what we call a forward-looking part, and that part really looks at what has happened to the economy globally, what are the trends, and how should those be taken into account going forward. So to the extent that uncertainty or changes in trading relations or in the trading environment has an effect on the economy which is significant enough to affect the program, of course those will be taken into account. But it will be done on a case-by-case basis, tailored to the specific circumstances of every program country that we have.
US President Donald Trump has announced that starting today, letters will be sent to all countries specifying the tariff rates on imported goods to the United States of America. Although it was previously stated that separate agreements would be made with individual countries, the US is now taking this step due to the complex nature of negotiations with more than 170 countries. The tariffs announced by President Trump on the 2nd April are scheduled to take effect from the 9th July. If these tariffs are implemented, goods exported from Sri Lanka to the US will face a 44% tariff rate. Meanwhile, Namal Rajapaksa, national organizer of the Sri Lanka People's Front, said he has sent a letter to President Trump and is awaiting a response until the issue is resolved.
Now, the president has sent a letter to President Trump. I don't know if a reply has come yet. I saw yesterday that even a minister was saying that only Sri Lanka has taken appropriate measures. I think when they said this about sending the letter, the government believes everything is fine and they can wait until the 9th of July. But clearly this will deal a massive blow to our country's economy, especially with the instability in the Middle East. Our country will undoubtedly face a huge economic challenge in the coming period. The government has no plans for this.
I think the Samagi Jana Balavegi also expressed views on this matter.
We have seen that Vietnam has reached some agreements with the US government, and news has been published that other countries are also negotiating and reaching agreements with the US. We have seen India has also reached agreements that benefit their country. However, it is still unclear what progress our government has made in discussion with the US regarding the tariff issue. We don't see the real situation clearly. We expect the government to disclose the actual status soon. Also, if a letter comes, those officials should go to the President's Secretariat to hand it over. They should ring the postman's bell. Otherwise, will DHL bring it? We don't know.
The US has 6 days remaining before implementing a 44% tariff on goods imported from Sri Lanka. What will Sri Lanka do in response? The people are paying attention.
After nearly 29 hours of debate, the United States House of Representatives have passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, an enormous tax cut and spending package that represents a pillar of President Donald Trump's agenda. The lower house of the U.S. Congress voted by a margin of 218 to 214 in favor of the bill on Thursday. All 212 Democratic members of the House opposed the bill. They were joined by the Representatives Thomas Massey of Kentucky and Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, who broke from the Republican majority.
Republicans muscled President Donald Trump's tax and spending cut bill through the House on Thursday, the final step necessary to get the bill to his deck by the GOP's self-imposed deadline of 4th July.
There could be no better birthday present for America than the phenomenal victory we achieved just hours ago when Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill to make America great again. Right? And in the last election, the people gave us a historic mandate to cut taxes, raise take-home pay, bring back jobs, stop the invasion, that horrible invasion. Who would do that? Who would do that? That horrible, who would do that to us? Who would do that? Deport the illegals and slash hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud, and that's what we're doing. With this bill, every major promise I made to the people of Iowa in 2024 became a promise kept. This bill includes the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut in American history, the largest border security investment in American history.
At nearly 900 pages, the legislation is a sprawling collection of tax breaks, spending cuts and other Republican priorities, including new money for national defense and deportations. Democrats united against the legislation but were powerless to stop it as long as Republicans stay united. The Senate passed the bill with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote. The House passed an earlier iteration of the bill in May with just one vote to spare. It passed the final version 218 to 214. Here's the latest on what's in the bill and when some of its provisions go into effect. Republicans say the bill is crucial because there would be a massive tax increase after December when tax breaks from Trump's first term expire. The legislation contains about $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. The existing tax rates and brackets would become permanent under the bill, solidifying the tax cuts approved in Trump's first term. There are scores of business-related tax cuts, including allowing businesses to immediately write off 100% of the cost of equipment and research. Proponents say this will boost economic growth. The wealthiest households would see a $12,000 increase from the legislation, and the bill would cost the poorest people $1,600 a year, mainly due to reductions in Medicaid and food aid, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office analysis of the House's version. The bill would provide some $350 billion for Trump's border and national security agenda. To help partly offset the lost tax revenue and new spending, Republicans aim to cut back on Medicaid and food assistance for people below the poverty line. Republicans are proposing to dramatically roll back tax breaks designed to boost clean energy projects fueled by renewable sources such as energy and wind. The bill creates a new children's savings program called Trump Accounts with a potential $1,000 deposit from the Treasury. A $200 tax on gun silencers and short-barreled rifles and shotguns was eliminated. A provision was thrown in at the final hours that will provide $10 billion annually to rural hospitals for 5 years, or $50 billion in total. The Senate bill had originally provided $25 billion for the program, but that number has upped to win over holdout GOP senators and a coalition of House Republicans, warning that reduced Medicaid provider taxes would hurt rural hospitals.
When I get that, I say, blow up a condom.
Exactly. And it blows like a balloon. I was like, this is not fitting, bro. That's another problem that you're having.
Now I'm saying, how many can we fit in?
Yeah, exactly.
Prioritizing crucial conversations. No guilt, no shame, no myths. This is Leaving No One Behind. This Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV1. Former Minister S.M. Chandrasena, who was arrested by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption in connection with an ongoing investigation into corruption and irregularities in a maize seed distribution program, was produced in court today. Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali Jayathunga ordered that he be remanded until the 18th of July. The suspect was arrested by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption this morning. He was later presented before the court at about 3:45 p.m. following a statement he provided for nearly 5 hours. The Bribery Commission informed the court that the suspect was arrested on charges of causing a loss to the government by distributing maize seeds, which were imported at a cost of 25 million rupees by the government in 2014 to be given to farmers in the Anuradhapura district at a subsidized price. He allegedly influenced officials, including the planning director of the district secretariat, and distributed the seeds through his political allies with the aim of gaining an advantage in the 2015 presidential election. Excerpt.
Your Honour, this investigation was launched based on a complaint made to the Anti-Corruption Office on the 3rd January 2025 by an individual named Nimal Vijayathunga. According to the investigations carried out, it was confirmed that the suspect had committed the offence which resulted in his arrest. During the 2015 presidential election, the suspect failed to follow legal procedures and distributed corn seeds which were brought for distribution for the poor to his close associates together with a regional organisation, with the motive of political advantages. Furthermore, Your Honour, the suspect himself prepared the list of people who should receive the maize seeds. However, the normal procedure is for the development officer to prepare the list. The suspect distributed these seeds close to the date of the election. The suspect acted with the sole intention of gaining an advantage for the election. Through this, the suspect intentionally caused a loss of 25 million rupees to the government. As investigations are still ongoing, I request Your Honour that the suspect be remanded.
End of excerpt. Darshan Kurupu, the attorney appearing for the suspect, requested bail for his client. Excerpt.
Your Honour, this is a malicious complaint made by the complainant against my client. The complainant is a person with about 20 cases in the Anuradhapura court. He requested my client for a permit to open a petrol shed. The permit was not granted. Cases have also been filed in the Court of Appeal. Your Honour, Nalin Hevage claimed that he would be jailed on the 1st of May. Is this the law in this country? Are suspects jailed as per the wishes of government ministers? We were asked to come to the Bribery Commission to hand over a letter today. When we went to hand the letter over, he was arrested. Your Honour, my client is a 69-year-old patient suffering from depression. His wife and brother are also in prison. My client will not influence the investigations in any way. I request that he be released on suitable bail conditions.
End of excerpt. Police Inspector Vikramarachi, appearing for the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, objected granting bail to the suspect, stating that the suspect could influence the witnesses. Excerpt.
Your Honour, the suspect's wife and brother was sentenced by the High Court in a case filed by the same complainant in this case. Following the verdict, the complainant was assaulted by the suspect's political associates. He was then hospitalized for 18 days under police protection. Similarly, Your Honour, we went to arrest this suspect yesterday. He was not in Anuradhapura yesterday. That's why we had to summon him to the Bribery Commission. Your Honour, there is a potential for influence on witnesses from him. Therefore, I request that the suspect be remanded.
End of excerpt. Considering the facts presented, the magistrate ordered the suspect to be remanded until the 18th of July.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali Jayathunga today granted bail to 3 suspects, including the Deputy Commissioner of the Motor Traffic Department's Narayanpeta branch, who had been held in custody. The suspects were arrested on suspicion of accepting nearly 4 million rupees in bribes from the members of the public applying for licenses at the Motor Traffic Department.
Dilanuan Kumara, Deputy Commissioner of the Motor Traffic Department, Pradeep Nishantha, Assistant Manager of the Motor Traffic Department, along with Clerk Samantha Pereira, were released on bail today. The suspects were granted separate bail conditions, including 2 personal sureties of 2 million rupees each and a cash bail of 25,000 rupees. The chief magistrate imposed travel bans on the suspects and prohibited them from entering the motor traffic department premises. The 3 suspects, including the deputy commissioner, were arrested on the afternoon of the 23rd of May during a surprise raid at the motor traffic department's Narahenpita branch.
Former Minister Mervyn Silva, who was granted bail by the Gampaha High Court yesterday, was officially released on bail today by the Mahara Magistrates Court through a related court order. The case filed at the Mahara Magistrates Court alleges that the former minister was involved in preparing fraudulent documents to sell a state-owned land in Kiribati.
මුළු ලෝකෙම ගෞරවයට පත්වෙච්ච අධිකරණයක් විනිශ්චයකාරතුමාලා නීතිඥතුමාලා ඉන්නේ අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ පමණයි. ඒකට මම සන්තෝෂයි.
ඒතකොට මේ ආණ්ඩුව හොඳ මාර්ගයේ යනවා කියලා හිතෙන්නේ.
ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ උත්තර දෙන්නේ නැහැ. සමා වෙන්න.
ඔබතුමා යාළුවෝ
යාළු ඉපදින්නට හේතු වාසනා වේවා. අනේ නැවත ඉරබාරණම් එන්න එපා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
මාධ්‍යත් එක්ක තරහද ඔබතුමා? ඈ මාධ්‍යත් එක්ක තරහද?
අනේ නෑ මාධ්‍යට මම මාධ්‍ය නිසානේ රට දුවන්නේ. ජය වේවා.
දැඩි කොන්දේසි මත මේ අප ලබා දීම සිද්ධ කළා.
The bail was granted under strict conditions. Each suspect required 5 sureties, which each surety having to post bail of 500,000 rupees. That's 2.5 million rupees in total. They also had to hand over their passports. In addition, they must report to the CIT on Fridays and Sundays and sign in. Moreover, cash bail of 200,000 rupees had to be deposited. These are very stringent conditions. This sends a strong message to anyone planning to harm public property. These cases serve as clear warnings. One should not think it's easy to get bail and walk free after such crimes.
මේවා හොඳ පාඩම් ඒවට කරපුවාම මෙන්න මේ වගේ දේවල් තමයි සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. අනිත් එක ලේසියෙන් හිතන්න එපා මේක අප ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක.
Meanwhile, Minister of Foreign Affairs Bij the Herat said that the government intends to repeal the Prevention of Terrorism Act and introduce a new act which is expected to be gazetted by late August or early September. He made this announcement during the Pathikada program on Sirasa TV.
මේක අනිත් පැත්තට ගිහිල්ලා බැලුවාම ජාතික ජනබලවේගයේ දේශපාලන පොරොන්දු පත්‍රයේත් මේ කාරණා සඳහන් වෙලා තිබුණා. දැන් කරනවා කිව්වට මදි නැමෙතුන දැන් අපි මේක කළා ඉවර කරගන්නත් එපා. කොහොමද දැන් අපි මේකේ යන්නේ?
ඇත්තටම ත්‍රස්තවාදී වැළැක්වීමේ පනත අහුසි කිරීම
Our movement has been a political force that has opposed this law since it was introduced in 1978. We were aware of the dangers it could pose. The election manifesto of the National People's Power also clearly states that we will abolish it. After coming into power, our immediate focus had to be on the economy. We had to prioritize IMF reforms, loan repayments and overall economic stability. Starting this year, we began taking steps on this matter. A cabinet committee has already been appointed for this purpose under the guidance of President's Counsel Rienzi Arsukula Ratna. This committee convenes regularly and is actively working on repealing the Prevention of Terrorism Act. While efforts are underway to repeal the act, we also recognize the need for legislation to address drug-related issues, underworld activities and organized crime areas where the existing laws are insufficient. Therefore, while repealing the current act, we must incorporate certain necessary provisions into a new law to effectively tackle these threats. Both processes are now moving forward simultaneously.
ඒ ක්‍රියාවලියක් දැන් එකට යනවා. අපි ඉලක්ක තියෙනවා.
දැන් අපි බලන්න ඕන කොයි කාලෙද මේක ඉවර කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. මොකද සැප්තැම්බර් වල එක්සත් ජාතීන් නිර්මාණ කොමිසමේ සැසිවාරය පැවැත්වෙනවා. එහිදී ලංකාව පිළිබඳ සංවාදයක් ඇති වේවි. අපි කවුරුත් අහලා තියෙන 46.1 යෝජනා නැවත කරලියට එනවා සැප්තැම්බර් වෙනකොට.
ඔව්. ඇමරිකා එක්සත් ජනපදයේ දැන් නැහැ.
The United States is not actively involved at the moment, but Canada and the United Kingdom are. They have already notified that the resolution will be reintroduced. Our target is to present this draft law to the Cabinet and have it published in the Gazette within the next 3 months. As we are now in July, our aim is to complete this process and publish it in the Gazette by the end of August or early September. That is the goal we are working towards.
අග වෙනකොට, කියන්නේ සැප්තැම්බර් මුල වෙනකොට මේ කටයුතු අවසන් කරලා ගැසට් එකක් මගින් ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කරන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ ඉලක්කය තමයි අපි.
News First with the people.
Upul Amarajit Ratnayaka alias Army Upul has been shot dead in Batuattaragama. Police said that 8 special teams have been deployed to investigate the incident. A special operation to locate the suspects involved in the shooting has also been launched in the areas surrounding Kadana, Wattala, Jayala and Ragama. According to the police, around 300 personnel from the police, the special task force and the military are taking part in the operation.
A shooting incident reported between 10:10 and 10:25 last night in Mihindumawatha, Batuwatta Ragama claimed the life of an underworld figure, Upul Amarajit Ratnayaka, alias Army Upul. According to the police, the gunman arrived in a 3-wheeler and opened fire at Army Upul, who was standing outside a residence with another person. He died on the spot after being shot multiple times. Police said that approximately 25 9mm bullet casings were discovered from the scene.
පස්සේ ආයි දුවගෙන මැවිලා සර් ආ දුවගෙන ආවා මේ ඇවිල්ලා ටීවී ස්ටාර්ට් කරලා අතේ තිබුණේ ඒක නොතන් තිබුණේ යා ටීවී එක මේ ටීවී එක අතට ගියා අපේ වෙනකෙනේ පැදගෙන හිටියා ඔව් වෙනකෙන් ටීවී එකේ හිටියා ඇත්තට ටීවී එකේ මම දැක්කේ නැහැ ටීවී එක නැත්නම් ඔබට කඩාගෙන ගියා ටීවී එක.
The victim, 45-year-old Upul Amarajit Ratnayaka, was a father of 3. According to relatives, he had been residing at his parents' house while his wife and children were living elsewhere. Police further revealed that he had been released on bail on the 7th of June after being remanded on charges of possessing crystal methamphetamine or ice and a hand grenade. He was also reportedly accused in the killing of a brother of an organized crime gang member known as Batuwatte Chamara. Army Upul, a former soldier, was believed to be a close associate of Ganemulle Sanjeeva, an underworld figure who was gunned down near the Colombo Magistrates Court several months ago. Following the shooting, there has been no trace of the person who was reportedly with Army Upul at the time of the incident. However, the motorcycle he arrived on was found abandoned at the scene and taken into police custody. Police suspect that the killing was orchestrated by Batuwatte Chamara, a known member of an organized criminal gang. Battala magistrate Dhammika Uduevidana visited the crime scene and conducted the official magisterial inquiry this morning. The body was later moved to the Ragama hospital for post-mortem examination.
The body of a 31-year-old businessman who had been reported missing was discovered today in a pile of garbage at a vehicle service station in Sirigampala in Udasirigama, Vennapuwa. Police said that the businessman was killed with a sharp weapon. This afternoon, the body was produced before the Maravilla magistrate, where the businessman's sister identified the deceased. According to reports, the businessman had told his mother that he was going to a party and left his home at around 7:30 p.m. on the 30th of last month. Family members lodging a complaint with the police after he failed to return home. Police also revealed that based on information received, the businessman's taxi and several other items were found yesterday evening at a house in the Vennapuwa Kadavath area. Following the arrest and questioning of a suspect, police uncovered significant information. The suspect confessed that after drinking alcohol with the businessman and 3 others, an incident occurred during which the group attacked and murdered the businessman. Currently, 3 other suspects have also been taken into custody. Police disclosed that one of them is a 15-year-old student. Additionally, police reported that a wallet belonging to the businessman was recovered from the main suspect's residence.
Very warm and special welcome to Your Excellency Thabo Mbeki. Thank you so much for gracing us this evening.
An exclusive conversation with the legendary Thabo Mbeki, former South African president and vice president to the legendary Nelson Mandela. Value the past, build the future. Liberation, unity, tough truths, and lessons for Sri Lanka.
How did you balance this dual responsibility?
I would say today, it's really because you base your knowledge and your experience, think on the experience of the past.
Former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, in conversation with Siobhan Daniel. On air on Wednesday, the 9th of July at 10:30 p.m. on Sirasa TV. Welcome back to Primetime News. The Colombo Municipal Council signed an agreement today with the Korea International Cooperation Agency to implement a project aimed at developing an improved tax collection mechanism.
The total value of the project stands at $8.5 million. The agreement was signed under the patronage of the Mayor of Colombo Municipal Council, Rai Kali Baltazar, Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government, S. Aloka Bandara, and Koika Country Director Lee Yu Lee. The highest revenue sources for the Colombo Municipal Council currently include assessment tax, license fees, trade tax and stamp duty. These four streams account for 62% of the council's total income. Under the first phase of the new project, these four key revenue generating sectors will be automated. In addition to streamlining payment processes, the project will also improve the security of the tax information system and ensure timely updates of tax payments.
Renowned banker Rienzi Vijay Tilaka passed away this morning. Cremation will take place at the Borella General Cemetery on Sunday, July 6 at 4 p.m.
Veteran banker Rienzi Vijay Tilaka passed away this morning. Vijay Tilaka was a prominent figure in Sri Lanka's financial sector, having served as both managing director and chairman of the Hatton National Bank. He also held key leadership roles as chairman of the Sri Lanka Banks Association and Chartered Institute of Bankers. Starting his journey at the Bank of Ceylon, Vijay Tilaka's banking career spanned over 5 decades. He was widely regarded as a visionary who championed financial innovation, particularly through the introduction of banking services tailored to the rural economy. Known for his self-confidence and willingness to take calculated risks, Vijay Tilaka earned respect as a professional who shaped modern banking in Sri Lanka. His remains were brought to his residence at number 61 Alexandra Place, Colombo 7 at 8 p.m. today. The cremation will take place at the Borella General Cemetery on Sunday, the 6th of July at 4 p.m. Shahani Seneviratne was elected the new chairperson of SLASCOM for the years 2025-2026. She assumed duties at the 13th AGM held in Colombo yesterday.
With over 25 years of industry experience, Seneviratne becomes the second woman to hold this esteemed role, reinforcing SLASCOM's commitment to progressive gender-inclusive leadership at the forefront of the country's digital transformation. Keynote presenter for the event, Dr. Hans Vijay Surya, the chief advisor to the president on digital economy, emphasized on change Sri Lanka as a country can look forward to.
So I believe that change, while it frightens us at times, when you reach a speed of change which is absolutely disruptive and is absolutely game-changing, that it turns into a reset. And it therefore resets also the stacking order or the pecking order, the stack rank of those who play in the game. Those who are small can become big. Those who are weak can become strong. And the fact that the dice has been thrown and you don't know what value is out there and who gets the dice next creates an era of change, of newness, and of great opportunity which we can look forward to as Sri Lanka, as a country determined to elevate its economy, elevate its people, and to do something fantastic over the next few years. A lot of excitement, confidence, and courage. And there's no country in this world, I believe, no expert, no one who can say that they have their hands around AI, that they control AI. I think it's as mind-boggling, as exponential, as disruptive to anyone globally as it is to us. And hence that opportunity that the rules of the game are changing. And therefore, you can apply intellect, you can apply ingenuity, and you can apply creativity at an inflection point to gain a better position, if not the winning position. And that's the challenge I think our industry that you lead and that you bring together must look to do. To grab this opportunity when the rules of the game have changed and define the forward path of industry, not only in Sri Lanka but globally. The industry does its part, developing the talent, building the trust frameworks. But in terms of enablers, I think we need to look at innovation in the sphere of capital mobility. After all, it will be very difficult to attract a foreign investor on the basis that the investment they put in Sri Lankan innovation cannot be moved out to invest in other countries. Because the Sri Lankan market is so small, we are playing in a global battlefield. And therefore, if a Sri Lankan has a brilliant innovation, we need to facilitate that innovator to branch out into global markets which are much bigger, but maintain their headquarters and their IP in Sri Lanka. So these are innovations that we have to create.
My vision is to project Sri Lanka as a global destination for technology innovation and competitive talent. This is a long-term journey, and we have already built the foundation. We are already working on a 5-year roadmap to achieve the industry value of $5 billion. While we continue with the foundational initiatives, we will plan and initiate further activities with a 5-year horizon in view. Now is the time to actively market Sri Lanka as a destination for high-quality knowledge services, as we have a talent pool available. Industry branding and promoting the IOI brand will be given focus this year in collaboration with EDB. We are also working with the government to get a country assessment and country branding report done, which is essential for international players assessing Sri Lanka as a destination.
Seneviratne currently serves as the Chief Operating Officer of 99X Product Engineering, a global technology services provider headquartered in Norway.
In your sports news, Sri Lanka faced a tough final challenge against United Arab Emirates in the Asian regional qualifiers for the 2027 Rugby World Cup held today. However, UAE emerged victorious in a tight encounter.
The action-packed encounter between host Sri Lanka and visitors UAE was held in the racecourse grounds. UAE started proceedings, scoring a try in the 7th minute. Captain Tarinder Ratwate opened the account for Sri Lanka, slotting in a penalty to bring the score to 3-7. Mohammad Rifan got onto the score sheet, scoring a try in the 19th minute, which was successfully converted by Captain Tarinder Ratwate.
Good connection by him, and it's through.
In the 23rd minute, he slotted another successful penalty for Sri Lanka.
No problem from the Sri Lankan skipper as Sri Lanka goes 13 points to 12.
The heated first half ended with the United Arab Emirates leading 22-16.
On to Bola Bola, and it's over.
Sri Lanka came out firing after the break with a successful try from Shamika Kaushan.
Sri Lanka touching down.
Despite facing a strong challenge from the hosts, the UAE scored a try in the 29th minute. In a game that swung both ways, UAE emerged victorious with the final score being 29-21. In a game where the UAE pack came out stronger than Sri Lanka, UAE finished the game with 4 tries, 3 conversations and 1 penalty. Sri Lanka finished with 2 tries, a conversion and 3 penalties. However, there were questionable decisions by the referee during the game. Sirasa TV and Yes FM are the official media partners for Sri Lanka's campaign in the qualifiers. The Sri Lankan rugby team were powered by Sirasa TV and Yes FM for the Asian regional qualifiers for the 2027 Rugby World Cup. The closely contested game of rugby was broadcast live on Sirasa TV. Sirasa TV and Yes FM presented the Tusker of the Game award to Sri Lanka number 9 Mohammad Rifan.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.